The first case is the lead masks case. August 20th, 1966. Morro do Vintém, Niterói, Rio de Janeiro State, Brazil. A boy flying a kite discovered two bodies lying side by side on the hillside. Manuel Pereira da Cruz was 32. Miguel José Viana was 34. Both were electronics technicians from Campos dos Goitacazes. They traveled together to Niterói on August 17th. Arriving at 2:30 p.m. Witnesses confirmed they purchased a water bottle and unspecified materials. They climbed Morro do Vintém. No one saw them alive again. Police and firefighters reached the scene on August 21st due to difficult terrain. The bodies wore formal suits, dress clothing inappropriate for hiking hillside terrain. Over the suits, waterproof raincoats. On their faces, lead masks. The masks were hand-cut from lead sheeting shaped to cover the eyes. No eye holes. Complete vision obstruction. 3 items lay nearby. 1 empty water bottle, 2 towels, and a handwritten note in Portuguese, structured as a timed schedule. 16:30 B at the determined place. 18:30 ingest capsules. After effect, protect metals, await signal mask. The schedule indicated planning. Arrive at the location at 4:30 p.m. 2 hours later at 6:30 p.m. ingest capsules. After ingestion, protect metals, and wait for a signal while wearing masks. Autopsy was delayed due to bureaucratic overload at the coroner's office. When medical examiners accessed the bodies, advanced decomposition limited analysis. Internal organs critical for toxicology, stomach, liver, kidneys, had deteriorated past reliable testing. Some reports indicate organs were improperly stored or discarded. Dr. Astor Pereira Neto conducted the examination. Findings: no stab wounds, no gunshot trauma, no blunt force injuries, no signs of physical struggle. External examination revealed nothing to explain death. Cause of death: unknown. The note explicitly referenced capsules, but the toxicology gap meant the substance could never be identified. Lead shielding is used in electronics and radiology to block ionizing radiation. Both men worked with electronic equipment. Evidence from earlier in 1966 suggests they participated in an experiment at Atafona Beach involving volatile materials that resulted in an explosion. This established a pattern of high-risk technical experimentation. The investigation was archived 3 years after the deaths. No arrests were made, no substance was identified. No signal ever came. 2 technicians in suits and lead masks died waiting on a hillside with a schedule in hand. Brazilian authorities closed the file with cause of death officially undetermined. The second case is Hinterkaifeck, night of March 31st to April 1st, 1922. A farm near Grobern, Bavaria, Germany. 6 people were murdered with a farm implement. Bodies found April 4th. Location: 500 meters from Grobern village, 6 kilometers from Schrobenhausen. Not remote wilderness, but isolated enough that screams would not carry. Andreas Gruber, 63, noticed footprints in the snow days before the murders. The tracks led from the forest edge to the farm buildings. He followed them. No return tracks existed. Someone had approached and entered, but left no trail going back. The family heard sounds from the attic, footsteps on floorboards overhead at night. Andreas investigated but found nothing. A newspaper from Munich appeared in the house. No family member had traveled to Munich or purchased it. Someone brought it there. On March 31st, the killer waited in the barn. One by one, 4 family members were lured or walked into the space. Andreas Gruber, 63. His wife, Cecilia Gruber, 72. Their daughter, Victoria Gabriel, 35. Their granddaughter, Cecilia Gabriel, 7 years old. The weapon was a mattock, a pickaxe-like farming tool. Each victim was struck down. The killer then stacked the bodies and covered them with hay and straw. A barn door was placed over the pile. The covering behavior suggests an attempt to hide the aftermath. Inside the main house, the killer murdered Maria Baumgartner, 44, the family's new maid hired days before. She had arrived on March 31st. In a separate room, Joseph Gabriel, 2 years old, both killed with the same tool. Medical examination revealed young Cecilia survived the initial attack. Her injuries were severe but not immediately fatal. She was found with clumps of her own hair gripped in her hands. She had pulled out her hair as she lay dying, surrounded by her dead family, in the hours before death came. Medical report estimated she lived for several hours after being struck. The killer remained at the farm approximately 3 days. Neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney on multiple days after March 31st. Someone fed the livestock: cows, pigs, chickens. The animals were milked and watered. Food from the kitchen was consumed. The house was occupied and functioning. When bodies were discovered April 4th, Bavarian authorities launched major investigation. Reward reached 100,000 marks, enormous sum for 1922. Over 100 people were questioned. No arrests were made. In 2007, the Bavarian Police College at Fürstenfeldbruck conducted a cold case review with Munich police. They identified a likely suspect based on behavioral analysis and circumstantial evidence. The name was not released publicly to protect the suspect's descendants from harassment. The case is officially unsolved. 6 people died. Someone fed their animals afterward. No one was charged. The third case is Dyatlov Pass, night of February 1st to 2nd, 1959. Northern Ural Mountains, Sverdlovsk Oblast, Soviet Union. 9 experienced hikers cut their tent open from inside and fled into the night. Temperature, -20 to -30 degrees Celsius. All 9 died. Igor Dyatlov led the expedition. The group consisted of students and young professionals from Ural Polytechnic Institute. They were skiing to Otorten Mountain. On February 1st, they pitched their tent on the slopes of Koletsyakul, Dead Mountain, in the Mansi language. Something occurred during the night. The group cut through the tent fabric from inside using knives. The cuts were deliberate, long slashes made to create exits. Footprints in the snow showed 8 or 9 people walking in single file down the slope. The tracks did not show panic running. The gait pattern indicated controlled movement, but the direction was clear. Away from the tent, toward the forest approximately 1.5 kilometers downslope. Their clothing status: some wore only socks, others had one boot, several were barefoot. In -30-degree conditions, this exposure would cause frostbite within minutes and hypothermia within an hour. A search team found the tent on February 26, 1959. The tent's position was stable. It had not collapsed. The interior showed evidence of an orderly camp before evacuation. The group's supplies, warm clothing, and boots remained inside. The first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonyshenko and Yuri Doroshenko, were found February 27th near the tree line under a cedar tree, both partially undressed, shoeless, and frozen. The cedar showed signs of broken branches up to 5 meters high, indicating someone had climbed it. 3 more bodies appeared between the tree and tent in following days: Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. They were positioned as if attempting to return to the tent. Slobodin had a skull fracture. The final 4 bodies, Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, and Alexander Kolovatov, were not found until May 4th, 1959. They were buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine, approximately 75 meters from the cedar tree. These 4 showed massive internal trauma. Thibault Brignol, skull fracture with brain matter exposed. Zolotaryov and Dubinina, multiple rib fractures. Medical examiner Boris Vozrojdeny documented that the force required was comparable to a high-speed car crash. The critical forensic anomaly: no external injuries matched the internal damage. Fractured skulls with minimal scalp bruising. Crushed rib cages with intact skin. The bodies wore thick winter clothing. But even accounting for padding, the absence of contusions was unusual. Dubinina was found missing her tongue, hyoid bone, and floor of the mouth. Zolotaryov was missing both eyes. The bodies lay face down in a stream that ran beneath the snow. For 3 months, running water and scavenger activity removed the most exposed and delicate tissues. This is normal decomposition, not ante-mortem injury. Radiological testing detected contamination on some clothing. A brown sweater showed 9,900 counts per minute of beta radiation. Trousers showed 5,000 counts per minute. The contamination was surface level and decreased after washing, indicating external dust, not internal radiation exposure. Possible sources: industrial isotopes from university work or environmental fallout from the 1957 Kishtim nuclear disaster at Mayak facility, 200 kilometers away. In 2021, researchers Johann Gaum and Alexander Puzrin published a study in Communications Earth and Environment Modeling, Delayed Slab Avalanche Mechanics. Their analysis showed how wind-loaded snow could accumulate, then release hours after the tent was pitched. A moving snow slab weighing several tons would create massive compressive forces, enough to fracture ribs and skulls through thick clothing, while the snow and fabric prevented external abrasions. The 1959 Soviet prosecutor closed the case with this language: deaths caused by a compelling natural force. No criminal charges were filed. The phrase created decades of speculation because it avoided specific mechanism. In 2020, Russian regional prosecutors reopened and concluded the investigation, publicly supporting the avalanche hypothesis. The fourth case is the Jamison family. October 8, 2009. Bobby Jamison, Sherilyn Jamison, and their daughter Madison, age 6, left their home in Eufaula, Oklahoma. They drove to Latimer County to view rural property. They planned to return the same day. They never came back. Security camera footage from their residence that morning captured unusual behavior. The video shows Bobby and Sherilyn making multiple trips between their house and their white pickup truck. Walk to truck, place items inside, return to house, walk back to truck. They repeated this cycle dozens of times. Their movements were slow and mechanical. They stopped occasionally to stand motionless, staring at nothing. They did not appear to communicate with each other. The behavior indicated altered mental state. Possible causes: methamphetamine use, which was prevalent in their region, or severe psychological distress. Both Bobby and Sherilyn reported believing their house was demon-possessed. Bobby had approached his pastor asking about special bullets that could kill demons. Sherilyn had purchased a book on Satanism. Their pickup truck was located days later in the Saint-Bois mountain area. It was parked on a rough mountain road. Inside, their dog Maisie, alive but severely malnourished, suggesting she had been locked in for days. On the floor under the driver's seat, $32,000 in cash, untouched. Personal belongings were scattered in the truck. Cell phones, wallets, Madison's toy. Surveillance footage showed Sherilyn placing a brown briefcase into the truck. The briefcase was not in the vehicle. Her handgun was also missing. The amount of cash ruled out robbery as a motive. The living dog indicated either the family expected to return within hours or their departure was forced and urgent. 4 years passed. On November 16, 2013, hunters walking in the woods approximately 2.7 miles from the truck discovered skeletal remains. All 3 family members were located within a small area. The bones were scattered by animal activity, but the cluster suggested they died close together. The distance from truck to death site, 2.7 miles through difficult terrain, rocky ground, thick brush, elevation changes. For a 6-year-old child, this distance represented extreme physical stress. Bobby suffered from chronic back pain severe enough to limit mobility. The hunters reported seeing what appeared to be a bullet hole in Bobby's skull. Forensic examination could not confirm this. 4 years of decomposition made determination of pre-mortem trauma difficult. The bodies were found face down. The Oklahoma Chief Medical Examiner completed analysis. Conclusion: manner of death undetermined. Cause of death unable to determine. No projectile fragments were recovered. The skeletal remains provided identification through dental records but offered no insight into mechanism of death. The Latimer County Sheriff's Office and Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation found no suspects. The case remains open. 3 people vanished with $32,000 in their truck and their dog locked inside. The state medical examiner could not establish how they died. The 5th case is the Springfield Three, June 7, 1992, Springfield, Missouri. 3 women vanished from a residential home on East Delmar Street. Cheryl Levitt, 47. Her daughter Suzanne Streeter, 19. Suzanne's friend Stacy McCall, 18. All 3 disappeared overnight. The previous evening, Suzanne and Stacy attended high school graduation parties. Plans changed multiple times. Originally, they were supposed to stay elsewhere, but they decided to return to the Levitt house instead. They arrived late. The next morning, they were gone. Friends arrived around noon when the girls failed to appear at a planned water park trip. The front door was unlocked. The house appeared normal. No signs of disturbance, no furniture overturned, no blood. The friends entered and searched. In Suzanne's bedroom, 3 purses lined up in a row on the floor. The arrangement was precise. Each purse placed parallel to the others in a neat line. Contents remained inside. Cash, cigarettes, identification. Women do not arrange purses on floors in geometric patterns. The lined purses suggested staging or control. Someone confronted the women and ordered them to put their bags down. The deliberate arrangement indicated either the perpetrator's need for order or the women's careful compliance to avoid escalation. The glass globe covering the porch light was shattered. Broken glass scattered on the porch. This offered 2 interpretations. The women may have been forced out and a struggle occurred, or an intruder deliberately broke the light to create darkness. Janelle Kirby and her boyfriend arrived that morning searching. They saw the broken glass on the porch. Concerned about safety, they swept up the glass and disposed of it before realizing the house might be a crime scene. This destroyed potential forensic evidence. The telephone answering machine held messages. Janelle listened while trying to find the women. One message struck her as strange, disturbing, or sexually explicit. In the confusion, someone deleted the message. Once deleted from analog answering machines, the audio was permanently erased. It might have been the perpetrator's voice. It might have held location information. It became evidence that existed in memory, but not in fact. 2 vehicles remained, Cheryl's and Suzanne's cars. Both sat in the driveway. The dog was present. Personal items inside indicated interrupted bedtime routines. No witnesses reported hearing screams, vehicles, or disturbances. No forced entry marks appeared on doors or windows. The perpetrator either gained entry without breaking locks, or one of the women let someone in. The Springfield Police Department initiated major investigation. Search teams covered the area. Tips came in by hundreds. None produced the women or arrests. The FBI became involved. In the years since, several locations have been suggested as possible burial sites. The most persistent theory involves the parking garage of Cox South Hospital in Springfield, which was under construction in June 1992. Concrete was poured at the site days after the disappearance. Ground-penetrating radar showed anomalies under the garage floor. Hospital administrators declined to allow excavation without more definitive evidence. As of January 2026, no bodies have been recovered. No suspects have been charged. The FBI lists it as an ongoing kidnapping investigation. The purses remain in evidence. 3 bags lined in a row, the last physical arrangement the women made or were forced to make before they disappeared. The 6th case is Lord Lucan, November 7, 1974, 46 Lower Belgrave Street, Belgravia, London. Sandra Rivet, a 29-year-old nanny, was murdered in the basement. Richard John Bingham, 7th Earl of Lucan, disappeared the next morning and was never found. That evening, Lady Veronica Lucan was attacked in the same basement. She survived with injuries and escaped to a nearby pub to raise the alarm. Police arrived and found Sandra Rivet's body. She had been bludgeoned to death with a blunt instrument. Forensic examination identified blood at the scene. Type A blood, Lady Lucan's. Type B blood, Sandra Rivet's. The presence of both blood types mixed on surfaces, and the weapon confirmed both women were attacked in the same location with the same instrument. The murder weapon was a section of lead pipe, approximately 9 inches long, wrapped in medical tape. The tape provided grip and reduced blood splatter. This indicated premeditation. Someone had prepared this weapon in advance. Lord Lucan fled in a borrowed Ford Corsair. The car was found abandoned at New Haven Port on November 8th. Inside the trunk, a second lead pipe wrapped in tape, identical to the murder weapon. Also in the vehicle, a vodka bottle. The second pipe is the critical forensic detail. Lucan either brought a backup weapon or intended to dispose of one and forgot it during escape. The matching pipes demonstrated careful advance preparation. The car's location at New Haven suggested an escape plan by sea. New Haven operated regular ferry service to Dieppe, France. However, no ferry record showed Lucan boarding. The port was not busy enough for him to board unnoticed. The car appeared to be a false trail, staged to suggest suicide by drowning or successful escape. Lady Lucan stated that her husband had intended to kill her, not the nanny. The theory: Lucan entered through the basement, planning to attack his wife when she came downstairs. Sandra Rivet came down instead at an unexpected time. In the darkness of the basement, Lucan mistook her for his wife and killed the wrong woman. When Lady Lucan came down and found the body, Lucan attacked her as well, but she fought back and escaped. The motive was financial and custody-related. Lucan had gambling debts. He had lost custody of his children in a bitter legal proceeding. Friends later testified he had become obsessed with regaining custody. No criminal trial occurred because the suspect vanished. An inquest in 1975 named Lucan as the murderer, a rare instance of an inquest reaching a murder conclusion. This prevented his estate from benefiting from his disappearance. The Claremont set, Lucan's circle of wealthy gambling associates, faced heavy suspicion of aiding his escape. Several members were questioned, but never charged. In February 2016, the High Court of Justice officially declared Lucan dead. This legal declaration was necessary for probate purposes. It allowed his son, George Bingham, to inherit the earldom and become the 8th Earl of Lucan. In November 2024, Freedom of Information requests to Metropolitan Police revealed the investigation remains technically open. The official status, subject to regular review. Sandra Rivet was murdered with a prepared weapon. The killer brought a spare pipe. The killer fled to a port but never left the country. One woman died. One man disappeared. No criminal trial ever began. The 7th case is Suzy Lamplugh, July 28, 1986. London, England. A 25-year-old estate agent left her office for a property viewing appointment. Her appointment book showed 1245 Mr. Kipper, 37 Shorolds Road. She never returned. Suzy worked for Sturgis estate agents in Fulham. That Monday morning was routine. She took client calls, prepared property details, and scheduled appointments. The noon appointment with someone calling himself Mr. Kipper was written in her diary. She left the office around 12:40 p.m. to meet the client. Witnesses reported seeing a woman matching Lamplugh's description outside 37 Shorolds Road around 1 p.m. She appeared to be in conversation with a man. The conversation seemed tense or argumentative. After that sighting, no confirmed witness ever saw Suzy Lamplugh again. Her white Ford Fiesta was found that evening at 10 p.m. on Stevenage Road, approximately 1.5 miles from Shorolds Road. The car's position and condition provided forensic insights. The handbrake was not engaged. For a manual transmission vehicle parked on a London street, not setting the handbrake is dangerous and unusual. This suggested either the car was abandoned in a rush or someone unfamiliar with the vehicle left it there. The driver's seat was pushed back significantly farther than necessary for someone of Lamplugh's height. She was approximately 5 feet 6 inches. The seat position suited someone several inches taller. This indicated the last person to drive the car was not Lamplugh. Her purse was in the door pocket. Contents intact. Money, cards, identification. The car keys were missing. Taking the keys but leaving the purse reversed the normal pattern of theft. The investigation immediately focused on finding Mr. Kipper. No one with that name came forward. No client records at the estate agency matched that name. The name was assumed to be false. Years of investigation produced no breakthrough. In 2002, Metropolitan Police publicly named John Cannon as the only suspect. Cannon was already serving life imprisonment for the 1987 kidnapping and murder of Shirley Banks. He had been released from prison just days before Lamplugh's disappearance. after serving time for rape. Connections to Cannon included, he had the nickname Kipper in prison. He owned a black BMW similar to vehicles described by witnesses. He resembled the photo-fit composite of Mr. Kipper. Multiple searches were conducted based on Cannon's movements. In October 2018, police excavated the back garden of a house in Sutton Coldfield where Cannon's mother had lived. Forensic teams used ground-penetrating radar and dug extensively. They found no evidence connecting to Lamplugh. Cannon consistently denied any involvement. He was never charged with Lamplugh's disappearance or murder. Without a body, without forensic evidence linking Cannon to the crime scene, and without witnesses who could definitively place him with Lamplugh, prosecution was not viable. An inquest in 1993 declared Suzy Lamplugh legally dead. Her parents, Paul and Diana Lamplugh, established the Suzy Lamplugh Trust, a charity focused on personal safety. The trust continues to operate. In November 2024, John Cannon died in prison at age 70 while serving his life sentence for other crimes. He died without ever being prosecuted for Suzy Lamplugh's disappearance. Detective Superintendent Richard Wood stated in 2018, "We will continue to pursue all lines of inquiry." As of January 2026, the investigation remains officially open. No body has been found. No charges have been filed. The diary entry, 1245 Mr. Kipper, 37 Shorolds Road, remains the last documented proof of Suzy Lamplugh's planned actions. Everything after that appointment time is absence. A car with the seat moved back. A handbrake not set. Keys taken. A woman who walked out of an office at 12:40 p.m. and never came back. Okay, and those are the 7 cases of unsolved mysteries where the details are too strange to explain. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And now, I'm 7 Frog. Sleep well.